Okay, everybody, this is a video on how to make an appointment in Salesforce. It should pretty well follow the packet that you have in onboarding with the screenshots. Um, and it also goes along with the video and PowerPoint in this onboarding module as well. But the PowerPoint doesn't have the screenshots like the packet does. And we really don't have a video that's live real time for how to make an appointment. So I'm going to use a test profile to make this appointment, but everything else that I do will follow the same procedures that are in that PowerPoint and in your onboarding packet. So what you can see right now is the calendar view of Salesforce. And this is pretty much like the home screen for what you will see if you're working at the front desk in the tutoring center. If it's not on this view, you can just click the calendar tab right here, and then it will show you this view. On the right-hand side, you do need to make sure that the calendar that is selected is for the day that you want to view. So today is Monday, which is why I have the Monday calendar clicked on, and then it's actually showing today's day of the week on this calendar. You can toggle to different calendars to see other tutors who work those days, and then you can also update the calendar view up here to match whatever day you are looking for down here. So it's a little tricky at first, just making sure that all of those different options are configured appropriately to make sure you're viewing what you really want to view on the calendar screen. Okay, so now that that is out of the way, we are going to practice making an example appointment. The first thing that you want to do is search for the student in this search bar up here. You can search for a student by first and last name, but we typically recommend searching by their student ID number or their S number. We call it both things, and students will also know both of those terms. A lot of times they will refer to it as their S number. So if they're not sure what you mean when you say ID, you can say S number, and then they will know what you're talking about. For this example, I am going to use that dummy account, which it's under the name Snoopy, and it does not have an S number assigned to it because it's not an actual student. So when I'm searching right now, I'm going to search for Snoopy. And then I need to make sure that I am clicking on the contact account version. There is another account down here. It's the admin account. You do not want that for making an appointment. Some students will show up with that as well. You want to make sure you're clicking on their contact card. So I'm clicking on the contact for Snoopy, and this is the page it pulls up. It will look very similar for any student that you pull up. You will be able to see their advisor, their mailing address, their home email, and other important information about them. So just remember that all of this information is confidential, which is why you all go through FERPA training when you start as a student worker. So FERPA is just the law that basically ensures that all students who are 18 and over who are enrolled in college have confidentiality for their information, their personal information. So we cannot share out this information with anybody else, including family members, parents, friends, anything like that. So just make sure that you're not sharing out any identifying information about students. So now that we are on their profile contact page, we are going to click schedule appointment right up here in the right-hand corner. This gets us to the first screen for making an appointment, specifically for us in the tutoring center. Now, students themselves on their end, when they go through the nest, they see a very similar screen to this, but they can choose multiple places to make appointments, multiple locations. So they could meet with an advisor and academic advising. They could meet with career services. They could meet with a personal success counselor. So there are other offices that use the scheduling through Salesforce and the Nest. But for us, we just want to click the next button so it takes us to the tutoring center. So we're not going to click anything about finding a staff resource. We're just going to click next. So now it takes us to the screen where we have to decide if the student wants to meet with somebody in the tutoring center or the writing center. So depending on what the student's request is, what the topic is, or the subject area, that's what you would choose for the appropriate appointment here. I'm going to choose tutoring center just because it gives us a few more options of students available and subjects and things like that. So then we're going to select the subject that the student wants to come in for. Now, Snoopy is not currently enrolled in any courses, so we are going to choose a placement test to make this appointment. I'm going to do AccuPlacer English, and then you click Next. The next screen asks us if the student wants to come in for an in-person appointment or if they would like to have a virtual appointment, which means they will do a video chat meeting on Teams. Many of our students prefer to do in person, but just make sure you ask when you get to this screen. So I'm going to go ahead and click in person. Now the next screen shows us everybody who is available to do that AccuPlacer English tutoring appointment. So on the left-hand side, we see all of our tutors who have that in their profile that they can tutor for that course or whatever we're looking for. The next availability dates that show up under the tutor's name is literally just the next time that that tutor has an appointment available. That does not mean that that is the only date that they are available. So if somebody is asking for July, let's say, is it going to show me a calendar? No, cool. If they're asking for the 16th, maybe, and Connor says that he's available next on the 15th. Well, that doesn't mean that he's not available on the 16th. It just means that the first availability is the 15th. So you will need to actually click on the tutor's name to see all of their availability listed on the calendar. Now, it does show here that Connor is available on the 15th. He does not have any openings on the 16th, okay? So in that case, yes, it's accurate that he is only available this day, but that's not always the case. So I'm going to click on Nori because they have a little bit more availability on different days than some other people this summer. So it's showing us that their next availability is July 16th, and we see that on the calendar. But if I toggle over, if I use this right-hand arrow here, it's going to show me the next few days after that. And Nori is also available on Friday. So again, just because it says first availability, that is not all of their availability. And you can click the arrow to see more days. Now, if you want to see a day further in the future, this calendar icon is very helpful. So let's say somebody is asking for an appointment for the following week. They want to come in on the 21st. So then I can see Tuesday the 21st. Okay, Nori doesn't have any availability. I can click through other people and see. Okay, so Andrew does have availability on Tuesday the 21st. So you would offer these times to the student. We're going to pretend that the student would like to come in at 1 o'clock. So we select that time and then we click next. So now we get to the very last page where we are reviewing information about this appointment. So the most important thing to do here is to put your initials in the description box because we are logged in under a shared account for Salesforce. So it's not going to show who made this appointment at the front desk. It's just going to show that the RVC tutoring department made the appointment. So putting in your initials here in the description box is very important so we know which staff member made this appointment. Then we just review this information with the student. We say, yes, you are scheduled for Tuesday, July 21st at 1 p.m. with Andrew for your AccuPlacer English appointment. It's always important to remind the student that they will also get a confirmation email in their student email. Make sure that you let them know it is their RVC student email. Some students do not check that email or they don't know how. So if they tell you, oh, I didn't get a confirmation email, please ask them which inbox they were looking at, because a lot of times they will refer to their personal email and then sure, that's accurate. Salesforce does not email their personal email. So they need to be checking their student Rock Valley email for that confirmation. Then we go ahead and click next to schedule the appointment and it's finished. So it says your appointment's all set and we are done. Okay. So if we really want to double check that everything's good, we can go and look at Tuesday, July 21st on the calendar page. And then I'm also going to select Tuesday in my calendars to make sure I'm seeing the appropriate tutors at the top. And here we go. We have our tutoring appointment for Andrew for Snoopy. When you first make an appointment, it will show up on the calendar. It will just say tutoring. It's not going to say the appointment type, like the course or what it's for, right away. So you can see Andrew also has an appointment at 10 o'clock that day for Accuplacer Math. If you give it a few minutes, this tutoring appointment down here will update to say what the topic is here at the top. It just takes Salesforce a minute to pull in all of that information. But we can see that it's scheduled there for 1 p.m., which means we did it correctly.